What's up, everybody? My name is Keena, and this channel covers personal finance and investing. If you like those topics, you know what to do. Smash that like button. This is part 2 of my interview with Mahesh Balan, the CEO of Pravici, a blockchain-focused tech company in Arizona. In this section of the interview, we're going to be talking about how his company is building a medical record system on the blockchain that will allow you to cryptographically secure your protected health information and reveal it only at moments of your choosing. Say, if you're traveling and you want to reveal your vaccination status. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview. All right, so I want to move on to the other big project, right? So PocketCred. To me, this is really applicable just given the situation in the world today. Vaccine privacy, vaccine passports, people on both sides taking very strong stances. What exactly is PocketCred and how does this solve, what problem does it solve?
So if you look just at the current problem, with COVID, which is very relevant, right? So now today you have a requirement. If you have to even travel to Hawaii or do international travel, you need to show a PCR test that, within 48 hours, you haven't gotten that, right? If you need to get back to college, 400 universities have said that we want to make sure that you're vaccinated. And if you're not vaccinated for some other, health or religious reasons, there are other accommodations that are going to be made, right? But the bottom line in all these situations is we are at a phase for the interest of public good that there may be reasons to verify that you have, either a test which is clear or a vaccine, right? Now, what is the best privacy preserving way to do this? Traditionally, how we have solved these problems, like employer number X needs to know that Keena and Mahesh, when they walk into Scottsdale, into their offices, have been vaccinated because, then they can have a protocol which says, hey, guys, you don't even need to wear a mask as per the CTC. You can sit here. For the others, we need to make some other accommodation, right? The traditional way would be that you somehow give permission to somebody, which retrieves your vaccination record from the state IIS system and they keep track of it. Not a good idea. This is what is called, they shouldn't be asking you this, right? So instead, what if we are able to issue it from whatever the authority, whether a state IIS system or your medical provider, what if they are able to cryptographically sign the fact that you either took a test which was negative or you took the vaccine and gave it to you. You held it with your own public private key cryptography. You're probably familiar, all your viewers are pretty familiar with how cryptography works. And let's say you secured it with a wallet, just like other wallets that you are going to use now for digital currencies and other things. Let's say you secured it in a wallet on your machine. And now when you present it to somebody, whoever it is, your employer, your university, and they are able to cryptographically verify the fact that this record has not been tampered with. And the best part on this, Keena, is that it also allows for something called selective disclosure. For example, all that a person needs to know is that you are COVID negative from the test. All that the person needs to know is within the last 6 months, you took a shot. Doesn't even need to know exactly the date, the where and when and all that. So there is an advanced field of cryptography called zero knowledge proofs and selective disclosure that we are able to do both these things. So the safest mechanism is to give your health information to you and you present it where and when you think is appropriate for you to present. So that's what our technology does. We can integrate to do the issuance of this record. We can give you a mobile app and we can give the verifier to verify this. So these conform to what are called W3C, verifiable credential standards. And that's what many of the common good kind of institutions like Linux Foundation Public Health, COVID Credentials Initiative, Vaccine Credentials Initiative, all trying to come up with some standards so that our software can all be interoperable in an environment like this.
So I think most people, when they look at crypto, they think of something that's fully transparent, right? I can see everything on the ledger, all the transactions, all the data of what took place. So this is now taking, patient data and somehow securing it in a way where privacy is protected and where disclosure is on a case by case, data point by data point basis for the patient.
You got it. Now, the only role of blockchain here, because there is always some confusion, right? Whenever you talk about blockchains, the role of blockchain in this kind of a network is, remember I said that the person issuing the certificate or credential is doing it through cryptographic means, which means that they have a private key with which they sign the, your digital credential, and they publish the public key in a blockchain, because now the public key is discoverable all across the world, without dependence on a single vendor or anything of that nature, right? So the verifier does not have to make a phone call to the issuer to say, did you really issue this to Kena? They don't need to. They can find out by when Kena presents the certificate, they can look and say, hey, here is the public key. Let me go to the blockchain, find out who that person is. Oh, it's CVS Pharmacy. I trust CVS Pharmacy, and therefore I make my decision, whatever it is, right? So that's the role of the blockchain. There's a few other things like the schemas and stuff that are stored in the blockchain. So that's really where the blockchain plays a role here.
It sounds really useful, but also mass adoption would need to take place, right? Because if I go to one hospital or doctor's office that does not have PocketCred, then that doesn't get logged, and then it's almost useless because of certain info that's in there and certain that isn't. So
yeah, you bring up a fantastic point, which is where it's slow to adopt, because we have to hit both sides, right? You have to issue the credential, and the credential has to be useful as to where it is used. Now, if you looked at some systems, again, this is a controversial issue, but in New York, they have IBM has implemented as exactly using verifiable credentials, the technology I'm talking about, their Excelsior Pass initiative, right? If you need to go to a Yankees game, and if you have the Excelsior Pass, which has a record of your vaccination, you can flash it. They read the QR code, they say you're good to go. You can go sit with a bunch of people, no masks, watch your game, right? So there are some places that are adopting that kind of technology wherein you need to hit both sides, right? But the technology, for example, our verifier is held in the cloud, and it's very easy. It will require 10 minutes of training for somebody to just scan a QR code, and it's just going to pop up and say yay or nay, right? And it's the kind of training that we can easily do. But if you think about this problem is, this solution can be extended, just like I think you kind of hinted towards that earlier on, which is, this is just what I would call the tip of the iceberg, right? Because there's a large class of problems. If you apply for a loan, or if you apply for a home mortgage, right? Imagine the amount of intermediation that you do. What you do is you to go to your bank, download all the stuff. Then you keep it in your machine. You upload it to God knows whose server there is, right? And who knows where all it's getting passed on, right? The beauty of this scheme is, can you imagine if you could go and retrieve that information from your bank, because you already authenticate with the bank, and get it as a verifiable credential with you. The beauty of verifiable credentials is you can present this information, including the terms of use, on the other side. So if there is software reading this, there is terms of use which says, do not archive. You can just use it to make a judgment. What's my credit score? All you need to do is be able to get a credential for that and be able to say it's above 700. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know anything else.
My next question was going to be, what's on the horizon for Pravici? But now you're talking about the DeFi space. So are you going to go there?
Oh, I think we are going to kind of focus on a couple of areas right now. With PocketCred, we are focused on universities, schools, and travel, right? This is the non-controversial areas where we believe that this technology can be truly useful, and then we will be able to establish its usefulness. Subsequent to that, pretty much we are open to any kind of application which requires you. For example, Kena, one thing, even in our own software, we have implemented passwordless login, which is essentially using this technology. I get a digital credential which says I can log into application X. Application X checks for that credential, and if it is properly non-tampered, then I'll let you into the application. Can you imagine not remembering passwords all over the place? So I think there is just a ton of applications we can think of, and we are happy to work with any customer who is willing to give it a shot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's exciting stuff.
Yes,
Mahesh,
yes. It is certainly, and TLP is the same thing. We are, like I said, working with a bunch of guys. We even wanted to interest, say, a downtown Chandler consortium, for example. And, again, all these will take a little bit of time. But over time, I think both these technologies will play. I mean, we are pretty much committed to this, using this and our experience using blockchain, because I think it's revolutionary. And as you have done other work in this area about cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth, and this is the way it's going to go. It's going to form the fabric of the next generation of applications.
it definitely is. All right. Well, we'll have to check back in down the road when there's more adoption that's in development that's taken place. I'm excited to hear about it.
Fantastic. Absolutely. We'd love to chat with you again, and all the best for you and what you're doing. This is great. I mean, this is how we spread the word and bring in more enthusiasts to understand and participate in this new ecosystem.